بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Uh, we we started 17th word. This is the 17th chapter of the book, the words. We started last week, and inshallah we will continue discussing the 17th word. We are still at the beginning. So this is a tafsir of three verses from Quran, but they are part of two surahs. So this is the tafsir of verses that we read. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. That which is on earth we have made as a glittering show for the earth, in order that we may test them, as to which of them are best in conduct. Verily, what is on earth we shall make but as dust and dry soil. What is the life of this world but play and amusement? So this is the interpretation of these verses. Last week we started I guess we discussed first a few paragraphs. We spent some time on after approach Quran. We can, I guess, repeat the discussion a little bit, maybe discussing the first part, if you're okay, or we can skip and then continue. At least let's try to have a short summary. And if you think we can repeat it, we go, and otherwise we continue. Anyone wants to give a summary, please? Anyone other than me? Brother,
go ahead.
So, as far as I remember, the first paragraph was starting with how beautifully adorned the universe is. So the Creator is beautifying everywhere in the existence, manifesting His beautiful names. But then, and He also, after beautifying it, He kind of invites all the conscious beings invites it for this show, seeing how beautiful everything is being created. But then the death comes to the end of the paragraph. But in the face of manifestations of divine names of most merciful and giver of life in this divine feast and dominical festival, the names of subduer and dealer of death appear with death and separation. And this is apparently unconformable with the all-embracing mercy of my mercy encompasses all things. So, in short, the question is, okay, everything is very beautiful in the existence, and apparently the purpose of this creation is for creation, the conscious creation, to enjoy and worship the Creator. But then how about death? What is beautiful about death? Because it doesn't seem to have any beauty in it. And how come that the Creator is claiming that His mercy encompasses all things, but apparently death is a merciless creation? So how come that there's death, which is contradictory to the rest of the picture, the rest of the beautiful things in the existence? And this contrast is being mentioned in the first verse, in the first two verses. So that which is on earth we have made as a glittering show for the earth, in order that we may test them as to which of them are best in conduct. Verily, what is on earth we shall make but as dust and dry soil. The contrast is over there. Beauty, which is being turned into dust and soil. And then the next verse is kind of a answer. What is the life of this world but play and amusement? I guess this is where we will start our discussion today.
Are you done? Or?
Yeah.
last week you were making some comments of the Arabic, but interesting, we skipped one important part there, which I realized later when I was listening to another discussion on the topic. When he says we may test them, the word he used, لنبلوهم, لنبلوهم. نبلو I didn't read. لنبلوهم. So nabluwa is the verb, the root is bala, right? Bala, right? In Turkish we say bela, meaning trouble, like the Turkish translation. But the way we use, at least in Turkish, it's as if like so that we give them some trouble. In the Arabic, of course, the original Arabic, it means giving a try or test, kind of. But still, there is something strange there, because even if we take it as test, and if we understand it in the usual way we understand, but there is a missing part, because when a teacher, for instance, tests a student, the teacher do it in the traditional understanding. The teacher does it because he doesn't know the status of the student, and he tests the student so that to know where he is, like in the curriculum, how much he understood, and so on. So when we try to understand the verse in that sense, it doesn't make much sense, right? Like God already knows, the Creator already knows everything, and is trying of testing me, like testing my knowledge. So if we don't understand it in a way that it benefits us, then it becomes baseless, I guess. So maybe we first ask why we understand it that way, why we say so that he tests us, try us. So what is the reason make us that we understand that way in tradition?
But what do you understand from testing then?
So yeah, the way, at least to me, like what first comes to my mind is he teaches me something, right? And then wants to see if I learned it or not. He tries me, and if I fail, he says, okay, you are failed. Like you cannot get the Jannah, sorry. And if I pass, he says, oh, okay, yeah, good, you studied hard, so you pass. You can go to Jannah. But if this test is part of the decision process, then everything, I guess, becomes a little awkward, because he already knows like where I stand in reality, right? With the rest of the reality. So he doesn't need to make or test me to make the decision. He's already all-knowing, all-just. So maybe we shouldn't understand it as a part of a decision process. Some say he does it so that we know, we don't deserve Jannah or deserve Jannah, so that we don't have anything to say against. But still, it's like he's already all just, all loving. Whatever he says is true. So I guess we should find a way to understand it, so that whatever the process is, testing or whatever name you want to use, it should be part of my education. Like through these, I should be able to learn something.
What is the original language for testing, or like who are best in conduct?
Oh, in Arabic,
Mm-hmm. So that's the word.
Yeah, so that we give them bala.
Mm-hmm.
And I checked the dictionaries as well in that form, and most of the translation, also the dictionary says testing, giving either good or bad test.
The way that I understood that verse, based on Nursi's explanation, we talked about the glittering aspect of the existence, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, we talked about everything being so like lovely and enjoyable, but at the same time transient. That's why he talks about two aspects. One glittering, the other one is like we shall make but as dust and dry soil. So everything comes into existence. You enjoy that beauty, like together with all your emotions that you are attached, you are connected with it. But as soon as you reach whatever the goal, the aim is, as soon as you reach there, it's already gone. And then you start experiencing the death and the separation, the pain of the separation. So this is the reality that I experienced, right? And what that really means, like for the verse, we may test them as to which of them are best in contact. That setup is mandatory or like necessary for like as far as man's nature is concerned. It is necessary to understand and make sense of the reality and the reality of his own existence and extract meaning out of it. Which again, if you refer to the first paragraph when he talks about the compassionate creator, munificent provider, all-wise maker, so like those kind of names, you see that through that dynamics, you extract those meanings about the creator, about God.
Mhm.
So that's why it is not like a pass and fail kind of test, but it is like an actually a training process that you go through.
Yeah, yes, when we take it as a training, then it starts making sense and it also fits our reality. The way I understand the whole first paragraph in the text, it really describes our reality, saying that what you are experiencing in the reality is that you have senses, as you were saying, you have all these senses, you have all these faculties to connect with what is being created in front of you. We also embroider them with all these beauties, which corresponds to beautiful names of the Creator. But you have the capacity to reach them. And so I guess this interaction with the reality is really important. Maybe we should highlight it. That not only things being created in front of us, we also given senses and faculties to interact with them. And then when Nursi says, he clothes each spirit, great or small, elevated or lowly, in a body decked out with senses suitable to it and appropriate for benefiting from the innumerable various good things and bounties in the festival. So I guess he's also taking our attention that you should look at the reality with your soul perspective, like with your human perspective. Because we also have animal sides. But here he specifically talks about the soul. And we can take it as there are angels, there are other spirit beings who are also being given all these senses and part of the festival. But I guess when I take it from my perspective, he's telling me, the Nursi telling me that just like you, right, you are being a spirit being, having a soul. Right? When you read the text, the rest of the text, try to understand it from the perspective, from the fact that you have the soul. Right? You look at the reality with your soul, with being a human, not being a biological entity. And then, as you say, through this interaction with my reality, I have a chance to reach my Creator. And I guess with these verses, when he says, so that we may test them, I guess what he says is, what Creator telling me that you are given this chance, and you are given your will, own will. You can either choose to follow all these signs in the creation, reach my beautiful names, or you can go the other way, go astray. Like you are given a chance, like you can choose. So I guess maybe he's telling us that so that we may test them. I guess the Creator emphasized that you have a choice there. You can either follow the truth, or you can follow falsehood. And whatever you get, this is what you want, and you will get it. So maybe the way we should understand this test, it's we are given a chance, we are given the material, like what we need to reach the beautiful names, which are shown us as adornments in the creation. You have the chance, have the required faculties. So you can choose to follow, or you can choose go astray. And I guess the whole paragraph, when he talks about all these beauties, all these faculties and so on and so forth, is trying to describe the reality that we should experience.
I think in a way it talks about the man's potentiality or potentialities, and obviously, like, if God is your creator and Quran is his speech, you would expect from that speech to guide you about your own guidance and like internal, like it is there to explain to you your like internal like senses or the faculties that you have, like what they mean and like how we are supposed to use them, right? So that's what would be the expectation from the speech of the creator and the guidance. And when it comes to you and it's like tells you that like the earth created in this way, so you can be tested. So one should ask the question, okay, what kind of guidance am I supposed to get out of this statement? And when you ask that, I think to me it's like more, again, showing the potentiality that you have and how you should be using them to reach your purpose in that sense. Like when he talks about going back to the original home where it came from. So if you are lost here, in a sense, you want to find a way to, if you are lost, you want to find a way back to your home, right? Where you feel at peace and you feel security. So testing to me means like showing the way to get there, that attain that peace and security. But getting there is up to me. Like I can make the decision to take the signs and the direction, or I may choose to take another path to try on my own. There I am completely free. But again, like when I read the verse, it is not like someone there like judging you what you are or what you should be. It's more like this is who you are and this is the guidance. Are you going to take it or not?
When you say purpose, I guess is also in the first paragraph of the text. Nursi also, I guess, giving us the purpose of the life. He's saying that the purpose is to learn about your Creator, reaching His beautiful names, knowing him through these beautiful names. And he also describes how you do that. That you have all these senses, he says, interact with the reality, experience the beauty, experience the destruction, experience the creation, given life, experience the life, and then find the source of the life. Right? This is your purpose, he says. And you should read the rest of the creation through these glasses. Like you shouldn't forget this is your purpose. So when you, for instance, see something which you don't like, check if it fits the purpose. If it does, then it will change in your eyes, right? No matter it will be something bad for you, because it fits the purpose. It helps you. And I guess the next, when he discussed the death, he will discuss it from this perspective. He will say, since this is the purpose of the life, purpose of your creation, the existence, sorry, and that serves this purpose very well. Because if all this beauty wouldn't fade out, you wouldn't question the source of the beauty. Right? Through this decaying of the beauty, you realize that it doesn't come from the flower, or it doesn't come from the woman you like.
Because everything is subjected to change and they cannot sustain.
And that's the part. Maybe we should read first this part, and then we should continue. So my recommendation, we can start from the last sentence of the first paragraph, and then read till the first. Maybe Yusuf wants to read it like so badly. That's what I see from his eye. Inshallah.
But in the face of the manifestations of the divine names of most merciful and giver of life in this divine feast and dominical festival, the names of subduer and dealer of death appear with death and separation. And this is apparently unconformable with the all-embracing mercy of my mercy encompasses all things. However, in reality, there are several ways in which it is conformable. And one of these is as follows. After each group of beings has completed its turn in the parade, and the desired results have been obtained from it, in a compassionate way, the most generous maker and compassionate creator makes most of them feel weariness and disgust with the world, and bestows on them a desire for rest and a longing to migrate to another world. And when they are to be discharged from their duties of life, he awakens in their spirits a compelling desire for their original home. Moreover, it's not far from the infinite mercy of the most merciful that, just as he bestows the rank of martyrdom on a soldier who perishes on account of his duty while fighting, and he rewards a sheep slaughtered as a sacrifice by giving it an eternal corporeal existence in the hereafter, and the rank of being a mount for its owner on the bridge of Sirat, like Burak. So too with other animals and beings, with spirits who perish while performing the dominical duties peculiar to their natures, and in obeying the divine commands, and who suffer severe distress, it is not unlikely that there should be for them in the inexhaustible treasuries of his mercy a sort of spiritual reward and kind of wage suitable to their capacities, and that they should not be unduly troubled at departing this world. Indeed, that they should be pleased. None knows the unseen save God. However, shall I continue? No.
We can stop here if you want. I don't know. It seems like. So, well, just take it if you want to.
So, okay. First paragraph. So, lastly, we kind of touched this one, saying that is he talking about men exclusively, or since he is talking about generally conscious beings? Like, how do I know that a an animal is feeling in the same way, feeling this weariness or disgust from the world as they get old. And we were talking about kittens versus old cats, or puppies versus old dogs. As they get older, even they are becoming more mature, or the way that we interpret it. And they're not being as lively as they used to be when they were newborn. And from an outside, as an outsider, as an outside observer, I'm likening myself to those animals and saying that, like as I get older, I am starting to get weary of this world, get tired of the world. I guess the similar gift, feeling, or desire to death is also being given to animals apparently as well. But last week there was also this mention, I don't know if we talked about this, but when they are to be discharged from their duties of life, he awakens in their spirits a compelling desire for their original home. I don't know if we discussed this original home part of it.
They also raised the question, I remember. I guess we can discuss.
So, because when the original home comes, we might have also mentioned it last time in Narida, in Neyderi Rajun, I guess this was mentioned. Indeed, we came from him and we will turn back to him. So, because this world is transitory, I guess this is why, this is the disturbing part of it, things being transitory. But looking at ourselves, there's this desire for eternity. So we observe, we can conclude by investigating the existence that my source should be an absolute source. So I am coming from an absolute source, and I would like eternity because I don't like death. I don't like to disappear. So I would like to turn back to eternity in a sense. So turning back to the original home, the idea is I would like to turn back to eternity. I don't want to stay in this transitoriness. So this is what I understand from turning home. But in practice, how it's practically possible. At that level, it is just a desire in me. So practically speaking, how do I become eternal? I guess it's a totally different discussion. But at least at that level, in terms of a desire, yes, for sure, I would like to become unlimited. There's this inner desire because the limitations are, or as I get used to things, I very quickly escape. Is it too much of a hard word?
What are you trying to say?
So in life, we consume things very fast, and they get old very quick. I guess this is where the desire for eternity is coming from. We always want more of it. We always want new of everything. Anything new makes us get excited, but as it gets old, I mean the things themselves get old. We would like to turn our face to something new. Same idea in here. It's always looking for a new one, and this, I guess, this can never be satiated when I'm on Earth. This is why I always would like to get to eternity.
So in this case, can we define home as something or somewhere where you find permanence, peace, and security, especially permanence or eternity? If you think about it, like what do we call home, like in our normal life, or when we travel somewhere else, stay in a hotel, or just it may be the most enjoyable like experience for a couple of days. Like you always have that desire to come back, like where you belong, wherever that place might be. And once you are back, you feel that belonging, that you reach there and you feel the peace. You find in a way the permanence. Because you know that like when you are traveling, even though it may be the most enjoyable moments, but you know that it's gonna end soon. So it is temporary for a short period of time. In that sense, like home is like somewhere that you find consistency, permanence, or in a way like eternity, and like you find peace, where you find peace. So when you apply that understanding your existence and knowing that everything is transitory here, everything is temporary, nothing stays still, and this life on earth becomes like a journey. There is a beginning to it and there will be an end to it. And because everything is subjected to change, you don't find the permanence here. You can't find the permanence here. So innately, you're always like, man is always in search of that place, wherever it is.
It's interesting that we are anticipating this place to be beyond death, as if it's not our feeling that I am getting away from it. With death, we are hoping to, or we are, I don't know, feeling like I am getting closer to my home. Although it might be taken as exactly the opposite, because now from life I am going into death, not to eternity, but to death, annihilation.
Yeah, like there is that hope that you will find it, but it's mostly taking that like my existence will come to an end with the death. That's mostly like how at the beginning how that is perceived like to be.
So,
But what we know is like we want permanence, we want eternity, but we are gonna die, and nobody wants to die. Like that's why we have all the scientists.
oh, you are not pointing him.
He knows that I'm a butcher.
Trying to find cures to prolong man's life. That is the primary reason behind it.
I was just thinking, and actually in the coming pages he's going to say, but now it makes more sense. The way to eternity passes through death. The way to eternity passes through transience. If you die worldly, you become, or you step into an eternal life.
In two ways, like
In physically, it's just, so taking it back to the 15th word. In the 15th word, he was using the shooting stars, physical things, and he was saying that this physical phenomena must be pointing to some truth. The Creator put it as a sign for some truth. And now in this world, there's a physical truth, which is I die, then I go to an eternal life. So there is a relation or an understanding which says, in order to get to eternity, you're going to pass through death. So then you ask the question, well, how about me passing to eternity when I'm in this world? How can I achieve an eternity or absolute when I am in here living? Again, pass through death. You need some sort of a death in order to arrive to this understanding.
yeah. Yeah, I think it is like you experience that in two ways. Like if you don't experience the eternity, or if you cannot really reach the eternity through the transience that you experience in every single moment, then I'm not sure if your death will mean much to you. You will only enter eternity with death if you have established that understanding through the transient like experiences that takes place every single moment. Which means like in two ways. Like in one more like looks to the message and like that you extract from your experiences and see the Creator and read everything in His name and reach an absolute one, who is the giver of your existence, and find eternity in that way. And the other aspect is, I think it's more like looking to the like your real dad, like physically, having the understanding that, or establishing the understanding that since you are given such a like strong desire, your existence should continue, and that should be just a door that you enter into that realm, which more refers to the um, belief in afterlife. Does it make sense?
I guess this is one aspect of why death is both as an act of mercy and compassion, as he says here. Because through experiencing death of the others, first, transiency of everything that you are attached in this world, by experiencing that, you reach the source of the attachment, the source of the things that you are attached. If that was not there, you wouldn't reach the source.
You wouldn't look for the source.
Exactly. And once you reach the source, it also feeds to your desire that you also want permanence, a permanent life, eternity, right? This finding source in the transience of the beauty out there also answer your desire, the questions about yourself. What going to happen to me?
My existence.
Exactly. And through the first, I guess, by observing the death of everything that you experience, it becomes a merciful and compassionate act, because through them you find answers to your existential voice. And I mean, of course, at the beginning, or maybe even till you close your eyes, you don't know what's going to happen, right? When he talks about the original home, you don't know anything about original home, if it is really exists or not. Yeah, there are news coming to you, but I guess the main point here is your desire. That the fact that you feel unattached to this world, even from the beginning, even when you enjoy the beauties, even when you have the enjoyment, deep down you feel this being alienated to the reality. And you enjoy it, but at the same time, it's not the thing you are after, right? As Creator says, the heart's peace, they find peace by remembrance of God. Right? Is that the way you say it? So I guess it also means that even when you enjoy it, that you know that there is something missing there. And once this enjoyment taken away from you, once you realize the transience of this enjoyment, the beauty, through this depth of the beauty, you reach the real source, which becomes an answer to your bigger problems, like what's going to happen to me.
I think that's at the personal level. In the bigger scale, when you look at like humanity as a whole, I just feel like this nature of man is really the reason for all the conflicts, because we don't really understand this aspect of the existence, and we look for the permanence in this life. We don't take ourselves as a guest in this world, and we since innately we look for the permanence and eternity, and if we don't interpret this life as a guest house that we are going to be here for a short period of time to be trained, going back to the test earlier, for a permanent realm, then you are really bound with finding your permanence in this life only. That's what you have. And since it's such an intense desire, one, I guess, we all experienced, one can do everything to do that. And that brings all the conflicts, all the wars. If you think about it, for example, kingdom of heaven, there is like, or promised lands. These are all like kind of key words, like, and one should seriously think about like those words, like what does it really mean? If you take those like terms, like a place, a land on earth, which means that like there is no like afterlife, or if you don't have the belief in afterlife, then it is necessarily that you are like, you need to find a place, you need to find a like land where you will think as a promised land instead of like taking it as a paradise, for example.
Or if you don't read the beauty in the creation as a sign. If you don't do it,
that is the thing, like the reason why we do that, because we have the intense need, but yet at the same time we don't take the guidance of the revelation, because we choose to, again going back to the text, because we choose to come up with our own alternative solutions or alternative interpretations of the universe. And that alternative solution that we come up with always happens to be within the universe itself. Like we have the like desire for permanence and eternity, and we try to find it within the universe, in the causal relationships again. So like, and the universe, if you think about it, the earth is a limited space, so you have to fight over it.
It makes perfect sense
to secure
to fight.
Yeah, to secure for like your own future, your own security that you are innately looking for.
Yeah, if this is the way we see the earth, I mean, if we don't read it as a sign, all these transients in the beauty, fluctuating, changing, constantly changing reality, then having all these conflicts, all these fights, wars, it makes perfect sense.
Nice.
Why shouldn't I do it? Right? I have this desire, and when I have one of them, I know that it will go away. So why shouldn't I have the second one, third one, fourth one? More I have, more I secure my future.
Like you think that you're securing your future, but again, that's just an illusion. Go one after another, and just come to a point that everything will perish.
I guess that's the point. The last verse comes into play. What is the life of this world but play and amusement? So I guess it says, if you see the world in this way.
Yes, exactly. Actually, that's a really good connection. If you don't take this life like the first and the second verse that we talked about,
as a training ground, and what you are left with is like a playground and amusement which is going to end and which will have no reality. Yeah, you're just wasting your time playing games, and this will be your reality. I guess this is, I don't know, personally at least, this is always how I feel. As if like there is nothing to do, there is no purpose in life. I'm just wasting my time. Why am I doing this? Why am I going to work every day, right? It's like a play, as if my boss has a role. She pretends she has power, she has something, right? And I'm pretending as if I have knowledge, as if I have to obey what she said. It's just like a play. Like, who wrote the script? And I don't want to be part of this play. But this is always there. And it says, yes, this is how you will feel, because you don't see the life as a beautiful adornment given to you and then taken from you, so that you will be trained through that. You don't see the life that way. Therefore, it becomes a play and amusement, just waste of time for you. Because you don't use it for the purpose that you are given. Yeah. You are given this life to train your understanding, your humanity, human aspect. But use it for a completely different purpose. Misuse it. Whose example was it? Was it McQueen? Just giving an example about the Monopoly
Yeah.
you play. If you take Monopoly as a training, like you will learn something about the economy, let's say, as if it's possible. So if you take it that way as a training, it makes perfect sense. Like you're not wasting your time, you're doing something. But once you take this money or the land you earn there as serious, say that, okay, this is mine and this is yours. Now you have to pay me. I will give you some money. And when you look at from the outside, you would say, are you crazy? Like real life waiting for you, and you're just wasting your time with a play. But it becomes a play or waste of time, let's say, only when you defy the purpose. Otherwise, it's part of the real life, part of your training. I guess with this verse, it doesn't say like, okay, forget about the birds, the afterlife is waiting for you. It says,
You can't.
yeah, the word is there for your training. Don't make it as a play and amusement.
You are wired to use this life to understand your reality. So, like, if you are wired that way, how can one tell you to forget about it? Existentially speaking, it is not possible to forget it. You have to play the Monopoly game.
Yeah.
You have no other choice.
And because you can always lost in the game, as a mercy, again going back, as a mercy, he reminds us that it's not just a training. The beautiful things I give you, all these desires and their sustenance, they're not the real thing. They're just transient. They're just examples, instances, reflections. Don't get lost in them.
Even if you win the game, let's say you're playing Monopoly and you are doing good in the game, so you really learned how to play the game, so you are not mastering the game, but then still it's a game, and the purpose for the game is fulfilled, so you shouldn't get caught with the game. So he gives you the feeling of disgust from the game so that you're going to stand up and go for doing something else. So otherwise, we are being successful. Everything is good with life. You are rich on top of your career and everything is there. Then, but the purpose is fulfilled, let's say, in terms of your learning, your Lord or your sustainer, this and that.
I think that's like the best example for that is the Yusuf's.
Which Yusuf?
Hazreti Yusuf.
Oh, the Yusuf the Great, not the Yusuf the...
Yusuf the Prophet.
Okay,
Not Yusuf the Damat.
Not Yusuf the Damat now. He has been through a lot, and he reaches a point like it's kind of pinnacle of his life in terms of like success and achievement, where he would enjoy the most, but the purpose is fulfilled. So he wants to be taken away. He wants to die. Because through all the experiences, like losing in the game, winning in the game, like being in the prison and being the supervisor or the consultant of the king, having nothing and having everything, status, position, reaching a point that, okay, the training is fulfilled, understanding that this world, like from the aspect like that looks to the world itself, like really means nothing. What really truly means is the like aspect that looks to the eternity and the meaning that you can extract from it, that you can connect yourself with your creator. And once that purpose is fulfilled, then there is no need for the monopoly anymore.
Yeah, it was a good point. Again, as a mercy, he also gives you this feeling of disgust, like
That we want to move on.
And you feel tired, like now it makes sense being old, right? Because if you were young all the time, you wouldn't want to leave. But it gives you all these weaknesses. You give all these loss of energy. Like you are ready to be taken away. Kind of like you say, okay, I'm not enjoying this life anymore. There's nothing satisfy me there. I'm ready. So it's also another. It's very merciful act. Like because you are so attached to the world, giving you like getting older slowly, like not like a jump in your life, but getting older slowly, counting your white hairs, like how weak you're becoming every day, weaker and weaker. It's like getting ready.
Getting ready if you have the belief in afterlife and belief in a creator that has control over everything. Otherwise, it's very dreadful thing to be like day by day. Technically, you're coming to the end of your existence, and you are going to become a fertilizer.
This is actually, now I'm realizing that what he is saying is, otherwise I would consider it to be natural. So for instance, same thing applies to when eating the food, and initially you're have a very strong appetite for the food. But in every spoon, your need is decreasing, the purpose is being fulfilled, and your appetite or desire for the food is also decreasing. And when you are full, you don't want to eat anymore. The desire for the food went altogether. It died. So you have the desire to finish the eating and go. And for us, it's well natural because the blood level, no sugar level in your blood is increasing, whatever, and this lowers the desire. Or when you get to an old age, since you cannot really, your body is not functioning as it used to, so now there's no reason for you to enjoy the world. Therefore, you are having the desire to go to an eternal life, whatever. So it looks very natural. But is it natural, or it doesn't have to be? So maybe you keep eating and nothing changes. You have a lot of desire to eat still, but your stomach is limited, so you just start crying, I don't know, whatever. Or you are at an old age, still your body is functioning, but you don't, I don't know, you learn whatever you can experience in the world. So you are not learning anything by staying longer in the world. A purposeless life starts in there. But I guess this one is an added value on top of the desire to leave the world as well. It's out of mercy. It's not natural. It is being given.
Quran presents a very interesting worldview, if you can understand what it really says. And if you truly feel it, understand and feel it, live it, then you really become an alien to the society that you live in.
This always happens to the prophet. Mariam, do you have desire to leave the world? Or you are good with life, you're enjoying? You're still young. Mashallah.
Can we read the moreover paragraph again?
Sure, please go.
Because I'm not sure if I understood that paragraph. Did you guys have anything else to say about the rest? Can I read it?
Yes.
Moreover, it is not far from the infinite mercy of the most merciful that, just as he bestows the rank of martyrdom on a soldier who perishes on account of his duty while fighting, and rewards a sheep slaughtered as a sacrifice by giving it an eternal corporeal existence in the hereafter and the rank of being a mount for its owner on the bridge of Sirat, like Burak, so too with other animals and beings with spirits who perish while performing the dominical duties peculiar to their natures, and in obeying the divine commands, and who suffer severe distress. It is not unlikely that there should be for them in the inexhaustible treasuries of his mercy a sort of spiritual reward and kind of wage suitable suitable to their capacities, and that they should not be unduly troubled at despairing this world, indeed that they should be pleased. None knows the unseen save God. So, like, what is he trying to do with this paragraph? Why is he talking about these animals, like, giving them, like, the pleasures they deserve, giving them the corporeal existence? Why do you think that he's bringing those points into the discussion? Or should I just read the next paragraph as well? Are they related? However, although man, the noblest of beings with spirit and the one who benefits most from the festivals with regard to both quality and quantity, is captivated by the world and absorbed in it. This is a very interesting statement. Man is captivated by the world and absorbed in it. As a work of mercy, the most merciful induces in him a state of mind whereby he feels disgust at the world and the longing to travel the eternal realm. A person whose humanity is not plunged in his guidance profits from that state of mind and departs with a tranquil heart. Now, by way of example, we shall explain 5 of the aspects which produce that state of mind. So, yeah, going back to the moral, he is giving that paragraph to prepare you for the next one.
Yes.
But I think that goes back to your question that you asked last week. How do I know, like, the animals, the martyrdom, they will have a permanent life, permanent existence, and they have pleasures in return to their sufferings and difficulties or distresses? I couldn't relate this paragraph
So as if
to
he
the
is
subject as much.
so in there, as if he is using two things as the evidence, like a person who died in the war is being awarded with martyrdom, or a sheep that is slaughtered is being awarded with being a vehicle mount for its owner, plus an eternal corporeal existence in the hereafter for the animal itself. He is providing these as if they are agreed upon verifiable truth for everyone, because he's using it as an evidence for the manifestation of mercy of the Creator on the face of death. Then he bases on these two, says that it's not far from the same mercy to provide same sort of a manifestation of mercy to all the other creatures that are suffering in death, other animals. So in this sense,
But like, if you think about it, like both martyrdom and like the
slaughtered
animal being the mount, or like these are very religious arguments, and at the same time, they are very they are also kind of unseen. It's something that you need to establish some sort of.
At the end, he says, none knows the unseen save God.
So, like, if it's something that you should also like make sense of this, like, and really understand what they mean and establish a belief in those concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, on one hand, like, why do you think he's bringing that like unseen to prove something else, which themselves begs the like question to be answered? And on the other hand, also, like, why do you think like he's bringing those religious concepts? Because that's not usually his.
He's not a religious guy, you said?
Is he a religious guy? I don't think he's he has a religiosity. No, like
Why you are studying it?
he just doesn't speak that way usually.
So I guess if
Like, to me, like, when so far I was able to follow him, but that paragraph kind of threw me off. Like I couldn't find it like being coherent. You know what I mean?
So there are a few things there in paragraph. I guess we can agree and maybe start building the tone. So one thing is talking about some duties, performing some duties and being freed from these duties. And at this part we can agree, we experience like that way, like everyone, everything has as if has a duty, performing it non-stop.
And once you're discharged, it's like you feel the relief.
Yes.
Yeah.
And being discharged is something, a relief for us at least. And from our perspective, we can easily apply this feeling to other beings as well. Assume that they have the same thing. Also, when we studied at the beginning about the transience and through these transients reaching the source, so it also means that all these creators, all these creatures, they are coming from a source which has, with his words, inexhaustible treasuries. So they are coming from this inexhaustible treasuries. So in a way, when we see them to die or disappear, we know that they are going back their original home, inexhaustible treasuries. I guess these are the kinds that we can maybe agree that we somehow experience. I guess the only missing part then, maybe I'm missing something, but the only missing part is, should we see it as a reward, like taken away, being discharged from the duty as a reward? If we can see it, then I guess it becomes easier to understand the paragraph. And also when he says like a rank of martyrdom, how do you read
Martyrdom.
martyrdom? Or a soldier who perishes on account of his duty while fighting. So how I understand that, it's like then the soldier, he already witnessed the reality. Like this is fighting on the duty, the way I understand. He already witnessed the reality that he's coming from these inexhaustible treasuries. Everything he experienced coming from the source. All compassion, all knowing, all wise, all merciful source. So I guess it means he doesn't have any doubt about where he's going. And when you compare with his life here, or let's say my life here, all the duties I have to perform or all the attachments I have that I have to lose, then it really becomes like a reward. Like if you witness the reality, you see it as a reward.
Go ahead.
In this case of martyrdom that he has now mentioned, because and this is a special way of death for us if we just take it at the level of in a war somebody is dying. But when he is discussing this martyrdom or witnessing, using his word, actually, maybe not martyrdom, instead of martyrdom we should use witnessing, shahadat. He describes this as a level of life. In the first letter where he discusses levels of life, witnessing, he says, is a level of life, which is a different sort of level of life for the people of grave. So maybe we might try applying this sort of a definition for a martyrdom. So if a person, in the example of a person dying in a war, this definition of witnessing might be valid, but for other forms of death, this sort of witnessing should also be valid. When he's explaining witnessing in there, he says, in this sort of a death, a person doesn't recognize any discontinuity in experience. So he used the experience reality. He keeps experiencing the same reality. Since there's no discontinuity, he doesn't think that he's dead. So for us, death is a discontinuity of experience. So as long as you don't have this discontinuity, then life continues for you. And he says, for some people on earth, the Creator is bestowing such a version of death for some people. They have been experiencing the truth, and they keep experiencing the truth. There is no discontinuity. So death, in this sense, is being a mercy for this person. Because the question was from the beginning, how come death is mercy? So he's saying that death is mercy for such people who is sacrificing their lives, sacrificing the worldly aspect of the life, which means now they are looking for the eternal aspect of the life when they are living this life. So since they sacrificed it, they are experiencing the eternal aspect of the beings when they are in here. And since there's no, let's say, worldly aspect in which they are experiencing, so even if the corporeal life leaves them, still there's no discontinuity. They keep experiencing the eternal names.
I think like in the original language, I think it's more clear to me at least. Hem Rahman'ın nihayetsiz rahmetinden uzak değil ki nasıl vazife uğrunda mücahede should be underlined. Mücahede işinde telef olan bir nefere şehadet rütbesi veriyor. So, what that really means in English, there is a struggle. Mücahede, struggle. Is that the right translation?
Yeah.
So, like, if we are to understand in the context of the previous paragraphs, man struggles to read everything in the name of the Creator to reach the names, right? That was the main theme of the first paragraph. So in that sense, like, if that is the case, martyrdom, the definitions of like martyr or martyrdom like should be someone who is struggling to go through the training to extract the meanings and the messages from the creation, understand the transience, like filtering aspect of it that is constantly changing, and reaching the names, understanding the mercy, understanding his being the giver of what was those words? The names of subdue and dealer of death. So witnessing that reality, because in the original language, martyrdom, like shahadat, comes from the word like the witness. So if you are not witness to the reality and the truth, you cannot really be martyred, because they are directly, organically related with each other. So then, in that sense, like martyr is the one who reaches that point that, as Yusuf, like I think that's what I understood from what you said. You are reading everything in the name of the Creator to a point that you are in the eternal aspect of the existence. In your understanding, you are already experiencing that, you are already witnessing that. And you don't take your bodily existence to be the only type of your existence. You are beyond that, and once you reach that point, then there is no interruption in terms of your existence to continue. So that's what martyrdom is. So I think if we take it that way, then that is in line with the rest of the text. As far as the sacrifice goes, I think that's also related because, like, if you take your life only the life in this world versus life being eternal, and also at the same time there's the full submission to the decree of the dealer of death. Then that also takes you to the eternal aspect of your existence.
No, go ahead.
Can this symbolic meaning of sacrifice, so let me pose it as a question. So he is saying that it's a mount or a burak on the bridge of Sirat. So Sirat is again a symbolic meaning in which it's a bridge.
Refers to the training or the test. Actually, it kind of more refers to this life than anything else.
Yes. So it's a bridge between
walking between the truth and falsehood.
And falsehood. So you are on top of this bridge, and on this bridge you are in need of a mount which is going to make you pass through the bridge. But the sacrifice is going to be a mount, but a super fast mount, like Burak, like a lightning fast mount. So how come I am going to sacrifice something, and through this sacrifice I'm going to solve the problem of going from one point to the truth lightning fast? So after sacrifice, I will say, now I got it. And now I arrived to the other end of the bridge immediately. Otherwise, I was going to struggle passing through the bridge. But through sacrifice, or symbolically, whatever the sacrifice means, or after sacrificing his son, Ibrahim a.s. was able to arrive to the conclusion immediately.
I think the way that I understand it, I may be wrong, but your true surrender or submission of yours, I'm using the submission in quotation mark.
You can use it anyway. I like it.
Submission in full submission of your ego, and which means your I've lost the thought now.
Sorry.
I feel bad for some other people here. Your full, complete understanding of your impotence and giving up your ego.
So, since in this sacrifice,
that means sacrificing to me.
In the example of Ibrahim a.s., and since you also said ego, releasing your claims of ownership, you are cutting the connection between you and what you claim to own.
Mm-hmm.
So once you cut this connection and you say that no, it was his, so I am sacrificing my feeling of ownership. It's not mine really. Now I am releasing this feeling. This makes you go through to the truth of it, practically saying that no, it was all yours. I understood the point. It was all yours. You gave this feeling to me temporarily to make sense of the beings or the creation, the existence. And now that I'm slaughtering this animal in your name, not on my own name, but in your name, and I'm cutting the connection, this becomes a immediate or lightning fast, back fast. This is, I guess, why it's called Burak, so fast. It immediately takes you to the end of the journey, to the other side of the bridge, to the conclusion.
And after all these explanations, I guess it becomes clear that, at least from our perspective, why an animal becoming a sacrifice, I would bring you what.
That was for you.
Why an animal who there's been sacrifice, again from our perspective, raised so high in ranks. Because it wasn't just an animal before for us, but through its death, which part of his duty, right, is fulfilling his duty and then going dead, it becomes very important for us. We value it now. Same thing for martyr, like a shaheed. Right? We give a rank which is so high. We want to be a martyr.
Mother.
The witness that we want to be. So I guess he's saying that from your perspective, when you see that something fulfills its duty or its duty in which it takes you closer to your creator, you value it. You value it a lot. And when they fulfill this through death, you see it as a reward because they become more important for you, more valuable for you. And you want the same thing for you as well. You say, okay, I want to transcend my reality as well. So I guess when you take it from your perspective, how you value such things like sacrifice or witnessing, then it becomes, yeah, okay. That's what that is taking me. And this, I guess, one thing to transcend your reality, you can take it in different ways. But in this context, I guess it's more like reaching the truth, reaching the source of the beauty. It's always there with us. So I guess you don't even have to be a believer or something like that. Everyone wants to transcend. And if you can see that or fulfilling the duty as a means of transcendence, then it becomes a reward for you. This is something you want, not somebody like pushing you. It's something you want. Once I was listening to podcast, not radio.
Podcast.
What is the famous like NPR? Anyway.
NPR.
Yeah, the radio had the podcast. It was about the ISIS, all these terrorism, and so on. The guy was saying that we now understood that you cannot fight with such organizations through any other means like the military or even other things, because the reason people join them, it's not only economical or it's not only about the power or something. They want to transcend. Right? Unless you give something which will replace this, you cannot fight against it. You cannot fight against the terrorism, let's say, with money or with military. Not even money. That was interesting. Because it's not, they want, at least some of them, the naive ones, let's say, they want to transcend.
Actually, I think that's very interesting observation, because most of those guys who are in that group are from the well-developed countries where they have the money and where they can actually reach all the luxury that they want. But they prefer, they choose to go a country third world country to fight, which is stupid, but at the same time, that's how they think that they're gonna find the
transcendence.
Yeah, transcendence, because they already experienced that money is not the answer.
I don't know about those psychopaths, but
For the records,
yeah. But Alavi was narrating a narration. I don't know if it's Hadis or whatever. Maybe an English thing.
Movie.
So
English proverb.
The Byzantine ambassador, when he went to Medina and turned back to his country, the report that he gives, he says for 3 reasons that you cannot defeat those people. One of them, he says, was when I entered, I didn't know which one of them was their leader.
They were sitting in circles.
In circles. I forgot the second.
They live in circles.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. They sit on the floor, on the ground, on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
They sit in circles, and you don't know who their leader is,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't believe that they will be dead and they die. Something like that.
They don't believe in death. So how can you kill those people? How can you defeat them? There's no death for them.
So yeah, I guess first checking
But-
our reality.
Let's clarify something. In the case of of course, that's not the topic, but I think we need to make this distinction.
For the record,
Yeah, for the record, in the case of the psychopaths, it's not because they really believe in the hereafter. That's why they go killing people and they want to die themselves. It's because they are empty. They experience the materialism to the point that they probably enjoy everything, and there is nothing else for them to enjoy in this life, and they just look for different excitement to fulfill those needs, and that's probably like my understanding of it, that's their primary motive, like motivation, why they do that sort of like crazy act. And I really like have serious doubts that like actually those people really believe in hereafter, because if they did, they wouldn't be able to they couldn't commit such a crime. You just mentioned the prophet in the same context, sounded like it is the same thing, where actually in reality it is completely opposite. The Sahaba wasn't afraid of death because they believed in the afterlife. And when you believe in the afterlife, you also believe in the day of judgment, which you will be accounted for your actions. So like on the surface level, it seems like the same thing, but like in the ground level, it is like 180 degrees like different. It's like day and night.
I guess the difference would be this was one of American, I don't know if he was sheikh, whatever, but he was attending a prison as a chaplain. So one of the prisoners came and he said, I want to be a Muslim. He said, why? The chaplain asks, why would you like to be a Muslim? He says, because your religion allows, shiddat? Violence. Because your religion allows violence.
I'm a violent man. I'm a violent man.
Yeah, he's a violent man and it's going to become worship. He says, no, you got it totally wrong, man. So I guess this might be the reason for some of the psychopaths take Islam and go to the war. They just practice killing. Wow, it's cool, man. And it takes you to the paradise even better.
So I guess what we are talking here is about the raw emotions, raw desires. So you have these desires to transcend, and you can direct it to any possibilities. That's the part, going back to the beginning, that's the part you are being tested. Like you have the desire, you have the means to fulfill this desire.
That's the
But
thing, like
you can go
you
astray.
have the desire, but like are you gonna like make sense of those like needs and understand it like under the guidance of your like revelation, speech of God, or you are just gonna listen to your own ego? And like when you listen to your ego, you become an ISIS. Like that's exactly what it is.
So coming back to sacrifice and martyrdom. how is he tying it back to the third step then?
I guess the way I understand is he's saying that you already see it as a reward. And he says why? Why do you see it as a reward? Like when you talk about the sacrifice, you think that the animal was granted high rank. And you say why? He says why? Because, the way I understand, he says, because they fulfill their duty of teaching you about the Creator, right? Or being in such a state, like being sacrificed yourself or being a witness yourself, martyr, the shaheed. You see that you are granted a higher rank. Your experience is being changed. And I guess if this is the case, he says, you see that through death, everything fulfills their duty, because that is part of their duty. Therefore, you can assume it as a reward to everything. And the way I understand it says, since they're fulfilling their duty, just like you, or just like an animal sacrificed, you should expect, he says, it is not unlikely that there should be for them in the inexhaustible. Like this is, you expect that it is the case.
Mm-hmm. And I would. It makes more sense to take it in both ways for myself. In my perspective, yes, this animal is getting a higher rank if I sacrifice it. But also, this animal is also a conscious being whose consciousness is being given by him as well. So I wouldn't take it far from acceptable to say that as he gives me something because of this sacrifice, he also gives something to it for the sacrifice as well. And Nursi applies this in general scheme, even applying it to the movement of particles in terms of saying that they are also getting some sort of a pleasure because of their duties. They are performing some duty. And as much as, for example, drinking this water is also a duty for me in order to, let's say, continue this body. But there is a joy in drinking this water so that I'm going to perform the duty. I am being automatically rewarded for performing the duty. So he extrapolates this even to the level of particles are moving or doing their duties, so they should be getting some sort of a pleasure or wage, payback immediately, right at the spot. Now he is applying it to the death. During the lifetime, we are being rewarded with those wages. And in the death, we are also, I am being rewarded, but also all the animals or anything is also, or should be, rewarded with the same sort of a feeling, he says. I don't know, but this is what I would expect. This is why I guess he finishes with, none knows the unseen save God.
Technically, like admitting that this is just one of the interpretations.
But I mean, seeing it the other way around makes me feel more friendly-like or brotherly-like with the rest of the existence. It's not like me only, I am watching everything from here. I have no way to say anything about this man or this fly flying over there. So no, you can relate. And you know your Lord, how he treats you, and you expect how he would treat this fly as well. And as you feel like we are being treated equally well, it gives you at least it gives me a feeling of I am in a palace where everybody is being treated well. It's not only me.
We have 5 minutes. Should we read the Hollywood part again, or we can leave it next week? Because I guess before reading first, second, and third, we kind of need to read the paragraph again.
Okay.
What do you think? Should we stop now then?
Let's stop now.
Okay, please, let's.
سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. آخر دعوانا الحمد لله